Welcome to Friday Fuel.
Fuel. Funny.
Gets me every time, Donnie.
What's going on, everybody?
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. We're super excited to be back with you guys on another episode of Friday Fuel. Thank you all for joining. We have a killer show that's about to drop today.
Let's go.
With an awesome guest in Kyle. And so we're not going to waste any time here. We just want to bring him on, and we welcome Kyle Muzelak to the show.
Yes, sir.
Go.
What's up,
How's
Kyle?
it going, Kyle?
It's
going on, man?
going great. Good to be here.
It's going good, man. Well, that's good. So give us a little bit of an introduction for those that don't know you, where you're from, how long have you been in the business, and what's your main lines that you write?
Yeah, born and raised St. Augustine, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. I've been in the business 3 years, and I pretty much primarily just write life insurance.
That's awesome. And so are you doing all things life insurance? So is that, final expense, mortgage protection, IULs? What do you like? What's your specialty there?
Yeah, I like term a lot, but we do a lot of mortgage protection, and I do a little final expense here and there, regular life insurance, but mortgage protection is pretty much the niche.
Now, is that a personal choice? Is that just something you found that you've had, obviously the best success at, or what comes into just kind of sticking around term?
Personal choice mainly, but at Symmetry we get paid a little bit better off the term, so that helps. But yeah, no, we do mortgage protection mostly at Symmetry, so the most of what we do is term and whole life.
I know for me, one reason I prefer to write term is because it tends to stick a little bit better, I feel like, than final expense. At least personally, when I've been dealing with people who are on a fixed income or budget, it tends to fall off a little easier than, people who have a steady stream of income.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Kyle, it was good to connect with you, meet you and Donnie when we, went out together. It was a blast, bro. It was good to see you. But I know I hopped on the call with you, so I was curious. Was that when me and you were talking? Were you selling final expense at that time? Was that right, or am I wrong?
When was that? I've written a lot of business. We got to clarify.
I know you have. It was when I hopped on the Zoom call with some of your guys on your team, and you were just doing some live recordings.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah, I did a live mortgage protection appointment. I think that time it was term, to be honest.
Okay, I got you. Cool. Yeah. When for the audience, there's a lot of people that could be struggling, in some of their business and stuff. When do you feel like, because all of us started, it took us a while to get going in the industry. When was the time that you noticed that, hey, this I really started seeing a change, and what made you have that change in your business?
To be honest, I've had a few moments like that. But the number one time was when I was about to fail out of the industry. And it was really hard. And I spent a good amount of money to go on a trip with Cody around the country, promoting his first show, that you guys were on season 2. Right. So for season 1, and I was around all these winners, and after that, it made my, like Joe, I got to really get to know Joe, and it expanded my vision. And from there, I kind of saw myself because at first I was like, oh man, making 100K a year is cool. But I didn't really see past that. And then just being around people like that, it changed my life, honestly.
I think a lot of people, at least, I can relate to this. And when a lot of people get into the industry, they have that same kind of vision, right? Where, oh, it'd be so awesome to make 6 figures.
Yeah.
So had you made 6 figures at that point when you expanded that vision, or did you have to get to that point first to be able to see bigger than that?
No. No, I've had weeks where, I wrote 10, 18, 23 grand. But I didn't have consistency, up to that point. And then no, I was like, I just want to get to six figures in a year, honestly, because having really big weeks is cool, but the consistency is what truly matters and keeps you in the business. And at that point, I was like, okay, six figures is way too small for me. I can do a lot bigger and better, and so can everyone else. I mean, I'm nothing special. I'm just following a system that's already been laid out.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So I think your
go
experience
ahead,
is not dissimilar to, a lot of agents. What's something that you can look back on and say, when I was struggling, when I was being inconsistent, this is what I was doing. And now that, I have this system in place, this is what I'm doing differently. And this is why I saw the success that I saw.
Yeah, that's a great question. When I wasn't consistent, I wasn't doing the work, to be honest. I wasn't doing the work, and I didn't have a good attitude. So now I tell every single person that comes to my team, I say, hey, there's only two things you need, and it's a good attitude and effort. All you need. And as long as and what I realized is I also wasn't putting enough into leads. I wasn't giving myself the chance, and I was too scared. Honestly, I was too fearful to spend $1,000 a week on leads. And now, since I've been doing that consistently, life has changed immensely. And the belief in myself comes with that consistency. And people preach that all the time. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, like I consistently write business, but until you actually consistently have a lead order, you're really kind of detrimenting yourself, in my opinion, especially in this industry.
So that brings up a question for me. So I have a couple for you, actually. So you said you almost failed out of the business. How long had you been in the business when you were like, okay, this is the make it or break it point? And what made you decide to go all in rather than where a lot of agents, 92% of them, decide to go back and find something else?
Number one was the place I'm at and the people that I'm around. I have some of the best leaders, mentors in the business, in my opinion, right? This is just coming from me. And they truly care about me. And they said, hey, listen, you have so much potential. And they put the belief in me. And then to answer your original question, I was 2 years in the business when I was about to fail out and quit. And I was about to go back to contracting in the military, which I didn't want to do. And honestly kind of cried about it to my wife, because I was like, man, I really don't want to go back overseas. I really believe that I can do this. So I took a bunch of money on my wife's card and said, I literally got nothing left. This is my last shot. And I put us in a lot of debt to be able to do it. But since then I paid it all off. And
Yes, sir.
So
Dude,
can you speak to having a support system like that? Like that's amazing. Like having a partner who has enough trust in you to say, hey, I'm willing to risk my financial future because I believe in you so much. And a guy like you absolutely went after and got it and proved it right. That's amazing.
It was it wasn't as easy as it sounds. Yes, I did just buy a new house, by the way. Yeah. So things have been really good since then. But yeah, no, it's super important to have the support, because if you're doing this on your own, it's so much harder, because then you really don't have a why.
Yep.
You're kind of just like her. I had to look myself in the mirror and go, I'm not doing enough for her, and I know I can, and I know I told her I can do this. So we just had a sit down conversation. I said, this is the last thing that I'm gonna do, and if this doesn't work, I'm out. But just give me one last shot. And I put my back in a corner. And I said, this is all I got. And then it ended up working out.
And how did you hold yourself accountable? Because I feel like a lot of agents will do the same thing. They'll get in that kind of situation, but then they'll bail out anyway. So like, how did you keep yourself consistent and actually do it?
That's the $1 million question. Honestly, I was too fearful to fail in front of other people because I was preaching how great this was to my team and I didn't want to fail them. So for me, it was, I really love Cody's platform, trying to make the 8% higher and help out a bunch of agents. And I knew that I couldn't impact anybody if I left.
Yep.
So what kept me accountable was what I could do for other people.
That's awesome, man. And you talked about how you lacked a system and that you created a system, or that you started following a system. Did you create that system yourself, or was it a mentor that was like, okay, follow this, do this many dials, this many leads, whatever? How did that come about?
Yeah. So when I first joined Symmetry, I followed the system to a T. And I was very successful early on. I earned a trip to Cabo within my first 3 months. And I was like, man, this is it. But then I got kind of a complex, right? And then I said, well, I can do this on my own. And I started doing other outlets and I left the Symmetry system. And then one of my mentors, Melissa Weigel, she came to me and said, hey, listen, follow the system and you're going to start seeing success again. And I said, okay, roger that. Cause right now I'm failing hard. Do what I got to do. So no, I didn't create the system. It was already made out for me. I just, I kind of deviated off of it. And then when I came back to it, it was like a night and day difference.
Well, I think that's really good, because a lot of agents, right? You said you followed all the stuff to a T, and a lot of agents that come on in, IMOs, wherever they're at, right? 92% of them fail because they're really not following all the stuff to a T. Like, they just do what they want to do, right? The mentor tells them something and they do the exact opposite, and that's why people struggle, is because they don't even want to listen to their own boss, Yep. And it's hard to feel sorry for that person because they're not even helping themselves at a point, And you mentioned like getting around like-minded people really changed your business. Even for me, right? Like before I actually went to SWAT and Ultimate Agent, like my business was not where it was supposed to be. I started getting around the like-minded people, and that actually really did help me grow and excel, right? Was there anything else besides like you getting around like-minded people that really helped you excel? Or is it just that, like just getting around those type of people?
It's not just that, because anybody could get in a room with a bunch of people and pay a bunch of money and not take anything from it. You have to be humble enough to actually listen, and no matter how long you've been in it, no matter how much business you've written, no matter how many people you think you've helped, you gotta take all that in and truly utilize it. And I took a bunch of notes and I pretty much pretended like I have never done anything in insurance and I was starting from day one. And I do have a military background, so I think that did play a little bit of a part. I was disciplined enough to just keep going. But constructive criticism is, thank you, Joe. You got to be able to take it.
Because I think, and that's really good, I think a lot of agents that like would go to an 8% or SWAT would have a big ego and they wouldn't set their ego aside. You're showing people, hey, I'm going to set my ego aside and I'm going to soak all that in like a sponge and actually implement it in my business. So I think that's so good, bro.
Yeah.
And I also started reading a lot more.
Reading, yes.
Which is
what are some book recommendations you have for the people in the comments right now?
Man, I got so many, but one of my favorites that I've read 6 times actually is Business Made Simple by Donald Miller. That's my favorite one. I just keep rereading it and rereading it because he just makes it so easy. It just but what I like about it mostly is that it makes you utilize each piece of it into your business and your personal life every day that you read it, which is super important. Not just reading is great, but if you're not actually implementing it, then what is it doing for you? Nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast. It was an Alex Hormozy podcast, and he said something very similar. He was like, I was reading all these self-help books for like a year, but I realized that nothing had changed in my life. So I stopped reading because it wasn't doing me any good.
Yeah.
You hit that right on the head.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. And then I had a mentor, Marshall Whalen, who whenever I text him, he's like, well, what did you learn? And so that's what I say to my team all the time. I'm like, well, what did you learn from that moment? And that starts to implement a little bit more. But yeah, reading by itself is great, but you got to actually take notes on each page. That's what I do. It's crazy.
Good idea.
So I have another question for you, Kyle.
Mhm.
When you started out, you had that hot start, won the trip in 3 months, which is pretty
Crazy.
rare in the industry. I feel like that's awesome. And then, kind of sounds like you had a roller coaster a little bit. When you were in those dips and you were about to quit, had you ever lost the confidence that it's like, dude, like, I don't even know if I can sell anymore? Or was it just like, yeah, no, I can sell, I'm just not putting in the work?
Man, that's a good question. And honestly, I feel like if anyone says that they never feel that way, even after they're successful, is lying. Like even to this day, when I get a think about it, I'm like, man, can I even do this anymore? It hits me for a second. But the thing is I just look back at what I do is I changed my mentality. And I started looking back at all the times where I really was successful. And I was like, you know what? It's not me. It's just a situation that I'm in at the moment. And it will get better if I just keep pushing through, because the people that get knocked down the most find the most success.
Absolutely. And is that something that, you were born with, Kyle, or is that something you really had to learn just through, life hitting you down and getting back up, or have you always just been kind of tenacious and a go-getter and after it?
Man, I wish I could say I've always been like that, but I mean, I guess I kind of have. Like, I've always had that complex to try to prove people wrong, because when I was in high school, I was a smaller guy, and I'll never forget this. This one dude, I was taking the ASVAB, which is the test before you go into the military.
Yep.
And
What was your score?
It was 80 something, like 86 or something. I think I don't even remember it, dude. It was like 10 years ago. Yeah. But it was pretty good. It was pretty decent. But I remember distinctly, this guy was like, why are you taking this? And I said, well, I want to join the Army. And he goes, dude, you're too small. And from there, that will never leave me, where he said, he basically, and I posted this the other day where I was talking about the haters. We're always going to have haters, but I'm the type where I got to prove them wrong. And so that was another reason why I kept going, is I was like, I just want to prove everybody wrong that I can do this. I can be the best. And why can't I be the MVP? Why can't I be the best in the industry or in symmetry? And that's just kind of like a chip on my shoulder that I just, I held on to keep me going.
Yeah, I found most successful people find, these little nuggets that, might not be significant in the big picture, but they find ways to make it personal, so that they use that motivation to get after it and grind. And that's something that you see so often with so many high level successful people, and that's something that definitely needs to be emulated as well. And I think you definitely have it.
Yeah.
Well,
and to jump over here really quick, Joe asked a question in the chat. He said, what had triggered you to start team building versus just writing on your own pen?
Nothing. I've always been team building, because I look at the future, right? Not today. I know that building a team makes me a millionaire at some point. So writing business only gets me so far, and eventually I'm going to be tired of writing business. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't want to be 65 writing business. I want to be 65 teaching a team of thousands of agents doing the same thing that I was able to do.
Did you feel like you were always, I guess, capable of building a team from two standpoints? One, actually like hiring, but then also being able to train them and show them like, this is what I've done? Or was it just like I'm just going to do it because this is what I've been taught?
I think I was too ignorant in the beginning to know, because I was new to sales, to be quite honest with you. When I first started, I was just hiring people because I was like, man, this is such a cool opportunity. Like, why wouldn't other people want to make a crap ton of money?
Yep.
You know, and I didn't know how to train them. To this day, I still feel like I'm not the best at training. I just tell them what I do that has found me success, you know, but it doesn't necessarily work for everyone. But luckily for me, I'm in a place where we have a system already set up that basically trains the agents for me. So I just give them the opportunity and say, hey, follow the system like I did and you'll find success. You know, so I don't really, I kind of use that as help on my back instead of going, hey, listen, I gotta write all this business. I gotta train all these agents and have all that stressor. I don't really have that symmetry as much as I thought I did at the beginning.
That's Kyle, I wanted you to explain real quick. You mentioned the system. I would like 2 questions. I would like you to explain the system because even for myself, I'm still working on bettering my onboarding process with people, you know, with training videos, this and that. And then I want for the audience, how did you manage to get 20 agents in, you know, a month and a half? It's just crazy to me. It makes no sense.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I actually hired 30 people. I just dropped 10 of them.
Wow.
The last month.
Whoa.
Honestly, guys, it was social media.
Mm.
I post all the time and I post information that's valuable to people. And people just kind of came to me. And then my warm market started seeing what I was doing. And most of what I brought on recently has been warm market. And
Wow.
they just said, hey man, it looks like you're freaking killing it. Like, show me what you're doing, because I want to make some extra money on the side, or I want to change what my career path is. And I just told them, I said, hey, listen, you know, I'm not the best since whatever sliced bread, but as long as you follow the system, I can't guarantee you success, but I can guarantee you some money in your pocket.
Mm.
Quick question. That's so good. I'm crazy on social media. These guys know it. I post on my story all the time, and I've gotten, even for myself, I've gotten 4 people that I have coming on just from social media, just like what you're saying, Kyle. I think social media is a game changer in the business.
Yeah.
If you're not posting on social, you need to. I tell these guys all the time, we have to be posting on social because people are going to see your success and they're going to be like, what is he doing? I need to get in there, right? Exactly what you just explained. Do you feel like, and this is a kind of, I'm trying to think of the question, but do you feel like you can promote too much?
No. And I'll take that from Luke.
Shout out Luke.
He always says, I love his quote where he goes, you know, what's the number that you need of touch points? And he always says more. And Hermosi, all those guys, what do? They just annihilate social media with so much. And you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. So somebody's going to see that and they're going to reach out regardless of how much you're posting or not. And I tell my team all the time, it's super important to be on social media because you have an untapped market of millions and billions actually of people out there that, you know, have the potential.
Go ahead, Adam.
I was just going to say, worst case scenario, somebody unfriends you or unfollows you, right? And then just keep going.
Oh no, and then I get 10 more, you know, so whatever.
What would you tell the agent that, you know, is maybe not producing that much? Like they're like, well, you know, I've only written, you know, $1,500 a month or whatever it is. And, you know, should they be posting on social media? How do you get over that imposter syndrome of just like, hey, look, I'm not doing that much. Should I be recruiting? Should I be posting? Like, I don't know if this is it for me yet. What would you say to that?
I was in the same boat. But the thing is, it's not imposter syndrome if you're in a good place and you know it's a good opportunity, just because maybe, and I'm not going to be mean here, but I'm saying if you're not writing a bunch, why? You got to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Like, why am I not doing enough? Am I doing whatever it takes? Probably not. So it's not imposter syndrome to post. But the thing is once you start doing that, it's going to provide accountability for you because people are going to see you doing things and then you're going to go, oh shoot, okay, I'm posting a lot. So now I need to do more. to show them that this actually works, right? You got to lead from the front, and it's going to kind of force that. And that's another reason why I did social media, was because I wanted that accountability too, because people were watching me. Even if they don't like or comment, I promise you they're watching you. And they're gonna reach out at some point. It might not happen today, but a couple of months down the road, like I've had 5 people that said, "Hey, I've been watching you for 3 years. I'm ready." It just happens.
It's crazy.
Dang.
I it's funny you say that, because I had somebody at church a couple weeks ago come up to me, and it was just some random guy. Like, we don't talk very much, but he was like, I've been seeing all this stuff you've been posting about being an insurance agent. You're so successful and you're cute kids. And now it's like, you can't do everything, because now you're posting stuff about working out, and like, you can't be healthy and successful. Like, pick one or the other, and like, he never comments on my stuff, but he was making a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally true. Like, people see stuff, even if they never interact with it, people see it and they recognize it. And it really does have an impact on people.
And a question for you, Kyle, are we doing content that is, geared towards recruiting? Are we just posting, your daily life, or what does the content generation for you look like?
I don't recruit at all. And I think that's why people come to me, is because I'm not coming across as, "Hey, I need you," in desperation, like, join this, because then it gives you that MLM feeling. You don't want to be there. So what I do is I just post valuable things, and I follow a bunch of pages. Joe actually told me to do this, where he said follow a bunch of pages and just provide value and comment on things. And so I started joining a bunch of Facebook pages that were geared around sales. And I just started saying, "Hey, this is what I'm doing," and saying, "Hey, this is what I would do in this situation," based on whatever question they said. And then they were like, "Hey, I kind of looked into you. I'm curious about what you got going on," So I don't recruit. I just post about my life, what I have going on. I'm a big fitness guy, so I post about fitness, and then I just post value. Like, I'll talk about, hey, why mortgage protection is important, or the difference between living benefits and not having it, or something that's valuable that a lot of people just don't know.
Dude, you're freaking jacked, Kyle. What's going on?
Yeah,
with
you
bro?
are jacked.
No. I'm taking roids. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I want you to I want you to touch on the importance of like health and business.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
how important it is for your health, and how your mental health, your physical health, and how it relates to your business.
Oh man, it's so important. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day to go to the gym, and I look at people like kind of like this, where if you're not accountable with your body, then are you going to be accountable with your business?
So true.
And I'm super healthy, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but like, honestly, if you don't care enough about you, are you going to care enough about me, my team, your clients? And it's just like, waking up early is so important, and I never really realized that, but I kind of crunched my day into 2 days by doing that. And I absolutely love the gym, because that's the time for me to kind of get my anger out on all those no's that I get the day before. I'm like throwing weights around going, "Man, forget this guy." Like, he told me to pound sand, so I'm gonna throw So I hope that answered your question. I don't know.
Yeah, dude. Freaking crazy. It's so important. Like, even for myself, you said
agree.
5 a.m. I'm doing the same exact thing. Like, before I excelled, even for myself, once I started excelling, that's actually when I started getting up in the mornings to work out before work. And like you said, it crunched my whole day in. Like, I write down my goals, write down what I'm grateful for, pray, work out. Like, I'm killing it all in the beginning of the day. So now in the later of the day, even if I'm behind on my goal, I can work till 8 to hit my freaking goal now, since I did all that stuff in the morning. It's such a game changer, man.
Yeah.
You stack your confidence and your wins early. So then it's just like, well, shoot, I woke up early, I hit the gym, whatever, I got this much water in, I'm eating right. And then it's just, watch out on the phones, because here we come.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, do you mainly do in-home, or are you over the phone?
Oh man, I'm purely telesales. I don't do all that driving around, Zoom, none of that. I got
Don't do all that driving around.
I ain't knocking on doors, bro. No, I do all telesales, so it's purely over the phone. I think the last time I did a Zoom was recently, and it was because it was for an annuity. Like I had to do it, but everything is telesales.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And what went into that? Is that just your bread and butter, or is that what you're comfortable with? Is that what you've seen the most success at, or?
So I'd say the ratio of success is probably better when in person, obviously. If you're in front of someone, it's harder for them to kick you out the door than hang up the phone, right? But I think just the training that I've received from Jordan Belfort, Jeremy Miner, Symmetry, it's helped with my tonality over the phone to get my points across and get them to know, like, and trust me over the phone to the point where telesales is easier. But also I can fit 8 to 10 appointments in a day. Whereas when I was doing Zoom or in-home, it was more like 5 was probably the max, 5 to 6.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's one thing that I noticed on the show when we were filming is like a lot of these guys, especially Alex, was gone like all day driving. I don't know how many hours he spent on the road, and that just gave me extra time to be on the phone, just booking more calls and talking to people. So there is give and take, definitely. Like you said, I think the close ratio is definitely higher in person, and it's a little easier to close when you're face to face. But you just have to weigh that for yourself, and if you can close on the phone, then do it on the phone.
Yeah, or if you're a maniac like Alex, you're making dials while you're heading to the next appointment.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. I was making dials at the Ultimate Agent. I was heading to the appointment, sitting there, like driving on my laptop up like I was a cop and dialing on my phone, bro, it going. And then I pulled over multiple times to write apps while I was driving. It was that whole experience was freaking hectic. I couldn't even tell you, but
yeah, that's crazy, man. But what I'll tell you though is, like, telesales is actually really easy if you know how to do it right. If you know how to ask the right questions, say the right thing in the beginning, and you get them to trust you right away. That, like, I send them my virtual business card as soon as I talk to them. And then I kind of go through things and ask them the right questions that I've learned. And so telesales has gotten a lot easier. I'd say the close ratio is pretty high in comparison to what it used to be. But I highly don't recommend driving and calling and doing whatever else. It's unsafe.
Very unsafe.
Oh, can you touch on real quick? I know
He said by any means necessary.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to put a disclosure on the show, like, we do not condone what Alex did in the car.
Can you give us like maybe like a, not a role play, but like showing the audience how important the tonality is, and giving us an example of how you do it with a client?
Yeah, if you join my team, I'll show you. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can do that. We'll pretend that you're a mortgage protection lead for me. Okay, because that's all I run, so it'll be easier. And then I'm just gonna do the first portion of it. It's like 10 seconds.
Cool.
All right. Whoa, I gotta call you first, bro.
My bad.
All right, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah, this is Alex. How can I help you?
Hey, Alex. It's just Kyle Muzelak here. I'm a senior field underwriter in Florida, and it looks like you had looked into some mortgage protection recently. And I just, as a senior field underwriter, I just wanted to verify some information we had here real quick, so I could help you out with that.
Okay. Yeah. What's up?
That's all I'm going to give you.
That's it. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot.
I can immediately tell the difference between mine and yours is I'm just naturally such a fast talker that I know I naturally come off as salesy, and hearing you, especially right there, it's so smooth. It's so disarming. It's so, oh, this guy is calling me for something I did instead of to sell me something. Like, oh, it's so good, man. I'm trying my best to get that down. I struggle with that myself.
And I want you guys to pay attention how he finished it. He finished just like what we talked about last week, Donnie, with the objection stuff.
Yep.
He finished with like an okay.
Okay.
Like it wasn't a yes or no question. Like I said, we can't finish with yes or no questions because most of the time it's going to be no. You just got to finish with an okay, just like that. That was so good, Kyle.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Speed was perfect.
Yeah.
I could definitely hear a lot of Jeremy Minor in there. If you follow him on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah. He came in. He trained symmetry actually. So I just watched his videos over and over and over again, and I practiced that in the shower with my wife. So, disclaimer: we shower together. It's cool.
Perks of being married.
Oh my gosh.
You get the best training, man. You get the best training on your spouse. You know what I mean?
True.
I think that also goes into practice makes perfect. You know, whether it be your spouse, it be, you know, the neighbor next door, or you give your mom a call. You know, you have to practice if you want to do this right.
Exactly.
You know, wasting your money on leads just to burn them and not get it right is going to discourage a lot of people. So practice makes perfect. And can you list some ways that you practice? Obviously, role playing is a big thing for you, but can you do some other things for us?
Yeah, I mean, I practice a lot. Honestly, so when I first got the initial script from Symmetry, I practiced on all my family members and my wife, and I was like, "Tell me which part sounds salesy. Tell me which part I should work on, and tell me which part is just completely. It sounds weird." And my wife was really, really tough. Yeah, he did turn kind of red. That was funny. So my wife is really tough, man. She was like, yep, no, click, click, click. She would just hang up on me. So it made me a lot better practicing on people that I already know, that aren't in the industry, because not that, you know, we're not going to give you the best response and feedback. But the thing is someone that's not in the industry is going to help you, tell you exactly what it's going to be like if you're, but you got to ask them to be like that. Right. So that's just what I do. And then that's how I kind of mastered that tone on the beginning part. Is I just worked on it over and over again every morning.
That's something that's always kind of ticked me off, like watching people do presentations, or, you know, just an example is like you have two insurance agents that are talking back and forth. And so the one insurance agent knows what the other person wants them to say. And so they just kind of give them the best case scenario. But if, like you said, you use somebody that's not in the industry, they're actually going to treat it like they would, because that's all they know.
Right.
That's great. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. They don't practice outside of just a setting like this, right? But that's so important to do.
It really is. It only makes
it goes back to receiving constructive criticism too. You want someone who's going to be honest and say, "Hey, this does not sound good at this part," and not just going to inflate you and say, "Oh, you did a great job. That sounded so great. I'd definitely buy from you."
Right.
Yeah.
That's not reality.
Donnie, that's really good, because there's agents that'll come on, right, and they'll say, "Hey, I want you to hold me accountable. I want you to be direct to me."
Yep.
Right. But when it comes time for you to hold them accountable and be direct with them, they start, talking shit behind your back, right? And it's like, dude, like, why are you even doing that, right? Like, you told me you want me to hold you accountable and you want me to be direct, but now you're all bothered that I'm doing that, you know?
Yeah.
It makes no sense, dude.
Yeah.
That one really pissed him off there. You seen that? My goodness.
Yeah. What else?
Well, Kyle, I think we've enjoyed having you on, man. You've brought a ton of value, especially just that last little part of your 10-second intro to your telesales. Whoever does telesales, make sure you copy as much of that as possible, especially in the speed of it. That's where a lot of new agents struggle.
I'm still struggling.
Hey, Donnie, how are you? My name's Colin. I'm the senior field underwriter here in Idaho. You filled out this form. I see your date of birth as
Click.
And you're just going, dude. See ya. Whatever it is, watch what Kyle just did. Promise you, you'll probably sell one more policy just today. So, but yeah, thanks, dude. You brought a ton of value. I'm going to start encouraging and doing a whole lot more of the stuff that you talked about today. I need Alex gets on me a lot. I do not post on social media.
I need to do more as well.
Donald and Adam's probably stacking up, but
yeah, I do not do social
Donald
media.
posts. Donald, I don't want to neglect you, dude. You post, but you're not posting.
I
as
should
much
do
as you
more.
should.
I should do more. You're right.
So we
Always.
appreciate that, Kyle. Thanks for coming on, man. And just a great show, dude. So
Yes, sir.
have a great
Thank you
week,
very much, Kyle.
everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right,
Kyle,
y'all.
we
Go make it
appreciate
a
you,
good
bro.
Friday.